Colby Covington is back, and what do we have? Complete and utter chaos. Welcome back to the channel. I am HeyJob Picks. Drop a subscription down below to support the channel. Follow me on all the social medias at HeyJob Picks. I just released a giveaway on my Instagram, so go check that out. If you want predictions for every UFC card, go to the double leg and subscribe there. I'll put that in the description as well. So before I get into everything that's going on with Colby Chaos Covington, I want to say, I told you so. I absolutely told you so. I did a video last week talking about exposing Kamaru Usman's title reign. And really what I did in that video was expose that 4 of his 5 defenses are to Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. And 2 of them each, obviously. Both of them are just not, they haven't been tested. They haven't really been fighting, or at least they haven't been winning against the best of the welterweight division. So, is it Kamaru's fault? No. But what has now been brought to light by most people that they could see now is that Colby Covington does not deserve another title shot. And they're kind of looking back at his record, who he's won, and Bilal Muhammad is a big person that's making people look at it and really exposing it. But I said this a week ago, before Colby Covington was even in the discussion for a title shot, before he even weighed in, before he was at the event, before Dana said he was getting the next title shot. I was the one saying Colby Covington is not tested. He hasn't fought, or he hasn't beaten the best of the best. He's beaten guys coming off losing streaks. And for Kamaru to have 2 wins against him, impressive wins, sure, but how good is Colby Covington? You could look at the eye test and see, like, he's a good mixed martial artist. He's a good wrestler, pushes a great pace, but he doesn't have wins. Like, he doesn't test himself. He doesn't fight the top of the division. He just sits out and beats guys that are old or on losing streaks and then gets title shots. And that's exactly what he's going to do going into this fight if he does get it, which it looks like he's going to against Leon Edwards. But I just had to say I told you so because I got a lot of shit for that. And people are coming around to it. People are realizing what is going on, and we're going to go into that a little bit more here. So let's go through the timeline. So Colby Covington weighs in, right? And he was pretty much out of the picture for a long time. Like, nobody knew what was up with him. There were talks that he had, fights offered to him and he didn't take them. And then he shows up, weighs in, and pretty much releases what Colby Covington does. Chaos, man. Like, he's just talking shit about everybody like he usually does, getting the headlines, being the center of attention, bringing attention to UFC 286, which was probably good. But at the same time, it's like, is it deserved attention? I don't know. But the conspiracy around it is, so Dana White basically says it's like dead, it's said and done, like Colby's getting the next title shot. But everybody's like, this guy's been off for a year, and he's been dealing with the whole George Masvidal thing as far as legal issues. The conspiracy around it is that Dana White told Colby, if you drop the charges against Masvidal, we'll give you the next title shot. Which I gotta say, kind of makes a little bit of sense because he hasn't earned it at all. Usually, it also just seemed weird because why would they make that so known at the moment? Like, they didn't need to make that known that Colby was getting the next title shot, but they did. Or Dana White did, at least. Like, you could have just waited, and then made the announcement. Just a weird announcement. And it's obviously not set in stone, but in his mind, it was set in stone. So that really kind of plays into the conspiracy. Like, I don't have a choice. Like, I made an agreement with this guy. If he drops the charges, he gets the next title shot. But Leon Edwards was not about it. Leon Edwards said, hell no. He doesn't deserve it. It doesn't make any sense. He said that multiple times. Right after the fight, in the octagon, he said it. At the post-fight press conference, he said it. And then on the MMA Hour, he goes on and says basically the same thing. He's like, I'm not fighting Colby. Like, he doesn't deserve it. Which is interesting because it's probably not a great matchup for Leon. But I can get where he's coming from, having gone the path that he had to go through to get to the title. You know, like, was it 9-fight win streak, 10-fight win streak, something like that? A long winning streak to get his title shot. And then cancellation. He gets it. He makes the most of it. He wins. So he's probably like, I want someone that had to earn it. You would think, right? But he says, he doesn't necessarily say who he wants next, but he goes, let's wait and see who wins between Gilbert Burns and George Masvidal. Why? Because he has the beef with George Masvidal from the 3-piece in the soda in the back. Masvidal basically jumped him, and I can understand why he would want to get that one back, but I can also understand why he would want to fight Masvidal, because is Masvidal deserving? Maybe. I wouldn't even say. If he beats Burns, I wouldn't even say he's deserving, but there's a better... That's the only way. If he beats Burns, that's the only way he could get a title shot, because, let's be honest, he's on a 3-fight losing streak, and even if he loses to Burns, there's no chance in hell that he could get a title shot. If he does, I'm not the biggest Masvidal fan, but I know he's a draw, and I know that you need to build a story around a big main event, especially a title fight, and the story is there. I don't think he's going to beat Burns. I really don't think he's going to beat Burns. But if he does, that's probably what Leon will want, and that doesn't make me the most happy because I don't think Masvidal deserves it at all. But I understand where he's coming from. And if I'm Leon, that's the fight I want, because I think I piece up Masvidal. Like, Masvidal is probably the worst out of anybody that could possibly get the title shot. So, shit, if I'm him, I'm saying, yeah, that's the storyline. That's I want that fight because it's probably the easiest fight for me. So I can't blame him there. But there's also, I don't even need to say the dark horse, but the most deserving, clearly the most deserving guy to get the next title shot, Belal Muhammad. Well, Leon, you also have a history with Belal Muhammad, not necessarily to the same degree of like bad blood, but there's also you haven't really seen it fully play out. You only went one round, and then you jabbed your eye or your finger in his eye and pretty much destroyed his eye. So there's the unfinished business there with Belal. But does Leon want the Belal problems? He's probably not like scared. He's not scared. He's not scared at all about Leon Edwards, but it's probably not his about Belal Muhammad, but it's probably not Leon's, favorite fight skill wise, because Belal's gonna push a pace, probably gonna wanna wrestle, and pay-per-view draw wise, we all know like Belal's not getting those kind of views as far as like a Masvidal or even a Covington. So he kind of brushes off the Belal thing, and he's like, yeah, I'm more focused on this fight between Burns and Masvidal. He doesn't seem too interested in fighting Burns, which, if Burns wins, probably I don't even need to say the most deserving, because if Burns wins, he will have beaten Thompson, Neil Magny, and then George Masvidal. And then Belal has beaten Thompson, Luque, and Sean Brady. So pretty similar. And then Burns had the fight against Khamzat Chimaev, which was a good fight. So it's Burns or Belal. I would tend to go with Belal, but at the same time, Burns, you got that recency factor of like he just fought. It's a little bit more of a draw. I'll just say that. But at the end of the day, everybody knows Belal is the most deserving as of right now. Like he's on I think it's a 9-fight win streak. He hasn't lost since like 2018 or something like that. And he's clearly the most deserving. And so people are not necessarily rallying around him, but at least people acknowledge that he's the most deserving. But at the same time, everybody's like, yeah, he's the most deserving, but Colby's going to get it. Like, Colby will still get it because it's all about views. It's all about money. Colby brings the views, and he brings the money, whether you like it or not. It's just what he does. You may think he's corny. You may be tired of it. But at the end of the day, you're going to watch that fight because it's Colby Covington. You probably want to see him lose, or you're a big Colby fan and you want to see him win. And so then Colby comes back the next week on Monday, and he starts doing a bunch of interviews, running his mouth, and basically he's being Colby. He's being Chaos Covington, just saying wild, outlandish shit. We all know that it's a character, and it's for views and for hype. People are basically bashing him because he doesn't deserve this at all. So what does he do? He kind of just leans into it, and he's like, he doesn't defend himself. He just kind of says wild shit like to get more views, and it's sad to watch, but at the same time, it's brilliant. Like it's frustrating to watch, but it is smart in the fact that he has to kind of lean into the villain role. He has to be the heel, as Chael would say. But there's one thing that a lot of people can get around, and that's Jon Anik in the UFC. And Colby Covington came at Jon Anik for having Bilal Muhammad on his podcast. Basically, I watched the podcast, listened to it, however you want to say it, of Bilal Muhammad on Jon Anik's show, and I don't even think Colby listened to it. I doubt Colby listened to it. He probably just saw it, and he's like, here's the opportunity to go after a guy that everyone in the UFC loves, in Jon Anik. But basically on the show, he was just talking about Bilal, not even saying much, just kind of asking him questions and giving him a platform to talk because Bilal doesn't always have that. So he gave him a platform to talk about, why he should get the title shot, why Colby shouldn't, and Colby took that opportunity to make a little threat to Jon Anik, and a lot of people were not happy about it. But at the end of the day, all that did was get more headlines in for Colby Covington. And whether you love him or you hate him, you have a feeling about him. I have mixed feelings, man. I admire the fact that he can bring so much attention to himself and still go into that character. But at the same time, it pisses me off when guys like Bilal just go out there and put on great performances and just go out there and put in work, and then they don't get rewarded. It's tough. It's really tough because it just shows that the fight business is a business. It is 100% a business, and there's no who's most deserving. There's no reward. It's all about, what can you do to make the money. That's what it is. Like a lot of fighters have to understand that, and some fighters do, some fighters don't. Some fighters are just okay with, just being a fighter, go there, get your paycheck, and leave. Some fighters want to get to that title, and at a certain point, like Bilal, you keep winning, you want to get to that title, you want to get your title opportunity, but you have to be somewhat of a draw. You can keep winning, you might have to fight a couple more times, but at the end of the day, we all know it's a business. We all know it's a business. And it's not a league where you can just, that's why they don't do the bracket. They don't really do the bracket thing like Bellator or PFL, where you can just set a bracket and be like, whoever wins, that's our guy, because you might get duped with somebody you can't promote. Sorry, but that's just how it is. That's part of the reason why the UFC is so big, because they know the fights to make, and they usually try to make them. Just think about how many fights you haven't seen in other promotions or anything like that. And it's just like, I want to see that, but it'll never happen. That is where we're at, and that's why I wanted to come on here and talk about it. Be interested to see what happens. I mean, we'll get a couple answers here in a couple weeks at UFC 287 when Burns fights Masvidal. If that changes anything, that's going to be in Miami. So something might go down because Bilal Muhammad said he's going to go to Miami to corner his teammate. Obviously, that's where Colby Covington's at. Masvidal there as well, going to be fighting there. And possibly Leon Edwards going to be there as well. So a bunch of welterweights going to be down in Miami. Something could happen. We will see. And, what a better time for Colby to be, or for a card to be in Miami for Colby. Like, is he going to go there? Is a question. He's the king of Miami, so I think he would have to go there. I hope he does, because that's going to be something fun to watch. But, yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to keep trying to bring in some more long-form content and just kind of talk about what I'm thinking about in the UFC and just discussing stuff, looking to get more lives done and everything. But yeah, UFC San Antonio this Saturday. I will be there live, so I'll be live in the stadium. I won't be able to go live here on YouTube, but you can follow everything at HeyJaiPicks. I'll be posting on my story as well. I got the VIP experience, so I'll be bringing that to you guys. And we post some videos as well. So thank you guys for watching. Till the next time, HeyJaiPicks, signing out.